Hey, thank you for clicking on part 2 of my video of learning how to secure the bag and how I got my degree for free. Enjoy! $500 that you get. And then through financial aid, if you qualify for the Pell Grant, it will also give you other grants, whether if it's privately or federally or nationally or scholarships, statewide or whatever the case may be. Then you have to look at like Bright Futures, for the prepay pen if your parents was like able to do that for you. Then you have private scholarships as well and private grants as well. You have all these Fortune 500 companies that basically put these scholarships out and no one applies for them, and guess what ends up happening? They use it as a tax write-off and that money goes right back into their corporation. So you have to be able to cultivate and be able to dig and be an archaeologist for the bag. Dig for the bag. The bag is not going to chase you. You got to dig that bag up, okay? So literally, I already walked into college in the positive, no negative. Now, it's so funny because the same week my mother and my father spoke to me, right? Separately. And they said, my dad calls me Pops, that's his nickname for me. And they said, Pops, let me tell you something. When I was 18 years old and I was your age, I was working and I was on my own. By the age of 22, I had 3 kids. I never went to college. All I know is how to work. So you are going to have to figure this out. You're a man now. So I'm like, all right. Can't go to my pops and ask my pops for nothing because you already told me like when he was my age, he was on his own. I'm like, okay. I guess I'm not a baby cub anymore. I'm a lion. Roar. That same week, my mom spoke to me. And she said, look here. You were able to finish college, you were able to finish high school in 4 years, and you accomplished a lot. I'm proud of you. Good for you. Me never got college. Sorry, my parents are Jamaican. But she was like, I didn't go to college, so I can't help you. I can support you emotionally and spiritually, but you're gonna have to figure out this thing financially and all other aspects of your life. Because this is not my life, this is your life. Now, I'm like, yo, my parents must have tag teamed me because they not together and they saying the same thing. So I'm like, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Listen, it's his son Dwayne. If you ain't busy, come by here because I feel forsaken. And I'm myself. I don't know what to do. I ain't never been to college. I don't want this work. So I started asking questions. I started researching. I started looking into different scholarships. Still writing, y'all. Still applying for scholarships. Then boom, get into college. It's now 2010, fall. Got my first car. Wasn't the best car, but I got my first car. My mom brought it for me as a gift. I'm like, all right, cool. Boom. I decided that I'm going to stay home and I'm going to travel back and forth because if I stay on the dorms, it's going to be too much money, right? So I'm like, all right, this is where I learned. College is where I learned to make $1, okay, stretch, or to make $1 out of 15 cents. I kid you not. I don't know what it is about college, but you become so resourceful, it's not even funny, okay? You really try to pinch those pennies and make it work. And I learned money management. There's some money I did burn up and I did splurge on that I should have never spent. However, when I got to college, I went to the financial aid office to try to understand, like, my mom told me that I can't get any loans. I gotta finish school in 4 years, so I'm trying to figure out a program and a career that I can finish in 4 years, and I'm not allowed to take out any loans. Which, come looking at my, I'm like, yo, you ain't even been to college and you trying to tell me how to run my life and get no loans. Well, she's smart though. She's smart. She knew what she was doing. And my dad said the same thing too. Like they spoke to me separately. That's the crazy thing. I did inquire on both of their behalves, and they said no, we didn't speak to each other. We're just telling you how we really felt. So I was like, all right, boom. So that's the charge I got. Can't take out no loans, like I said, and I gotta finish in 4 years. Boom, bam. Here we go. So I go to the financial aid office and I'm talking to them, and I just feel as if they not talking what I'm talking about. All I wanted to know, how much money I'm going to owe at the end of the semester. Because college is a business. 101, college 101 of understanding how this thing works. College is a business, okay? Period. End of the day, they love to see you fail. Why? Because that means that you have to retake that class over and you have to pay for it. Just example, a credit. One credit at an institution could be $100. If a class is 3 credits, to take that one class is $300. Okay, that's not including books. That's not including your tuition and fees. That's just one class. And other bills that you gotta pay as well, and for you to survive. So all of these things you gotta think about when you're applying for college. And whatever college you go to, you need to go to the college that makes more financial sense. Which college is going to give you the most money, and which college is going to give you a scholarship, or which college is going to make you come out of pocket less. Okay? Is it better for you to stay in state? Yes. Or go out of state. If you're going out of state, make sure it's a full ride. That's my best advice to you. Alright, boom. So, now, they're not really talking to me in the financial aid office, so somebody told me about the controller's office. Let me tell you, the controller's office was my best friend. They broke everything down for your boy. So I see my scholarships and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know about that scholarship. And I'm like, well, how much money I owe? They're like, oh, you don't owe any money. Based off of the Pell Grant and your academic and private scholarships that you have received, and your non-renewable scholarships. So you have non-renewable scholarships on scholarships that you only could get one time, and then you have renewable scholarships that you could apply for either semesterly or annually. Right, so you can make sure that you accrue that money. So, and you always have that scholarship, or you always have that grant. Okay, cool. Y'all got me. You following me, right? Cool. Make sure you take notes. So now the controller's office is breaking everything down. So they give me a sheet of paper. So I see this figure at the bottom. So I said, "What's this?" They were like, "Oh, that's your return. That money is what you could use to buy your books and, whatever you want to use it for." Yo, when I saw I was getting like $1,500 back, I said, wait a minute. So I'm getting paid to go to college? They were like, yes, you're actually pretty smart. The lady was just like, you're actually pretty smart. I'm like, well, my GPA is not that great like how it was in high school. She was just like, well, according to college and according to the standards here, it's pretty phenomenal. It's like, okay. So, pause. If I knew this back then, I probably would have been a millionaire by now, or very close to it. So let me tell you what I learned, how to really get the bag. You see, if you get scholarship money or you have a return from financial aid or whatever money that you get, whether if it's like a graduation gift, which I didn't even talk about that money that I got, or any little money that you get extra that you really don't need and everything is paid for, this is what you do. And if I knew this, I would have done this. You invest that money into some stocks, some bonds, get an online bank or online account that has a very high compound interest rate that it could give you more return on your money. Because back in 2008 when the market crashed, I remember Amazon, Google, and like Apple, their stocks were like for $10, and within like that 3-year mark, they went up to like $20-$30. If I knew at the time that I was in college, I would have taken a good portion of that $1,500 that I got, and I would have invested it, and I would have taken my dividends and invested that. And I would have just rolled it over. I would have been rolling in the dough. is how some of my counterparts are so successful in how they gain capital. Because they came up with side business, they took that money and they saved it, or they took that money and invested in themselves and their passion and their side hustles, and they were able to flourish financially. So, any little extra money that y'all get or have, make sure you invest it. Because if you're getting it for free, why not? If I knew that, I really would have done it. Anyways, but I did use the money for good use. Like, I wasn't working my first 2 years of college, so I used that to pay my bills, right? Because I didn't, and I was working here and there, but I didn't feel comfortable asking, I should say, my mom or my dad for money for like my haircut or my car insurance or gas or just anything that I wanted, because I'm used to being so self-efficient and independent and a little bit prideful. I didn't want to ask them for money because I just felt like I'm a man now, like I need to fend for myself. So I did little jobs here and there. But then within my junior year, I had 3 jobs. So I was working at a general store. I was working as a substitute teacher because I decided to become a teacher because I could get out of college in 4 years by getting a degree, a bachelor's degree in English with a concentration in American literature. And then my 3rd job was I was working overnight as a security guard in a gatehouse, right? So I would go to school full-time during the day and work these 3 jobs full-time, either during the day and at night. So I would go to school during the day, do my homework at night. Sometimes I would have to drive an hour and 45 minutes to and from home and work to go to school and make sure that I'm able to go to class. Sometimes I didn't get no sleep. Sometimes I didn't get to brush my teeth or take a shower. I had to go straight from work to get to that 8 o'clock class, and I got out of work at 7 o'clock, sometimes 7:30. So I had to book it to work dead tired. But book it to school dead tired from work. But I did anyway because I was determined to get my degree. So what ended up happening was I was working just to save myself. You know, I got into a serious car accident as well, so the money that I saved helped me to put down a down payment on a brand new car, so I had to work because I had a car payment. But at the end of the day, I didn't have to pay for my degree. So I graduate. Well, before I graduate, I will say this. I did change my major, and that was like a whole fiasco within itself because I got into the music program, but I ended up changing my major after a semester. I was like, this is not for me, so I was like, cool, like I'm here to stay. They really liked me, so they wanted me to stay, but I was like, no, I don't want to stay. And I had to take legal action because it was some whole other fiasco, but that's another story for another time. Wherein they didn't want me to leave the program, but I had the right to leave the program because I didn't want to stay in music major anyways. So I went to the controller's office for the last time, and there was this black man that saw me come in, and he was like, oh Lord, here we go. Man, why you keep on coming in here? You don't owe the school nothing. I was like, look, you say that all the time, brother. But I didn't even know for sure. I need my printout. That's what I came here for, and I'm about to graduate. I need to know if I owe FAU any money. Because I said, I see they built this big old stadium, and they keep on raising tuition and fees every single year. And last semester, it was more, this campus was so jam-packed. It was so jam-packed to the point where it was like, the campus was a trap house, and it was full of roaches. Okay, so I was just like, I need to know if I owe anything. So I knew that I had 2 academic scholarships at FAU. When he turned the computer screen around, my jaw dropped because not only did I have financial aid, but the school itself, I had a total of 5 scholarships from FAU. 5. That I had no idea about. Okay? I knew that one discontinued because it's based off of the funding that the school gets, right? And I applied and tried, and I got it. But the other ones, I didn't even know that I qualified for. So I'm like, what are you? Just like, yeah, you know, these scholarships follow you all 4 years. Plus, you got a Pell Grant. So basically, the school paid you to come here. And my jaw dropped. I didn't know anything, like anything about college. I didn't know anything. I just knew to just stay on top of them and ask the right questions. Sometimes you don't know to ask the right questions, but just ask questions so you can get to where you need to get to. Looking back on my college experience, I wish I would have double majored or I would have minored in something else, because being an English major is very artsy fartsy and it's very vague. If you're thinking about going to school, I think the smartest thing for you to do if you want to go to college is that you need to really zone in on what you want to go to college for and think about something in the realm of STEM. So anything scientific, anything with technology, anything with engineering, and anything with mechanics, okay, or mathematics. So that will help you to definitely land a good paying job, especially now. Also, I really didn't want to go back to school for my master's because there was nothing that really interested me or a topic that I wanted to be a master of. Plus, I was really tired of writing and doing all of these scholarships and stuff like that. And the grants were a little bit more rigorous to apply for, so I was just like, I need a break. I've been working 3 jobs. I've been going to school full time, working full time. My brother's tired. I really just want to work a job and get this bag and just be successful. So when he showed me all of that, I'm like, okay, cool. So he's like, Dwayne, you're free. Like, graduate, be great. I wish you all the best in your life endeavors, but I never want to see your face again. I was like, all right, cool. So boom, I graduate, and all I remember is seeing my mom and dad's face walking across that stage. You know, I didn't come from much. People used to think that I had this perfect life, this Huxtable life. Even teachers. But I was so determined that I was going to break all generational curses. My mother and father never got the opportunity to go to college, but I did. And they pushed me and challenged me in a way that I didn't really know that they were going to push me and for me to be that successful in that way. To walk away without an ounce of student loans because I worked really hard, I applied for scholarships, I was on top of my financial aid, I didn't have to get any loans, I was smart about the college that I chose. Even though I had no idea what I was doing, I feel as if God just really, really protected me because and blessed me with this experience. Looking back at it, if I could do it all over again too, I would suggest everyone, if you are thinking about going to college, think about getting a trade or going to vocational school, right? Because what happened in 2020, my theory proved right. If your degree fails you, at least you have a tactical and technical skill, right, that you could do to help you hustle, right, to help you stay afloat, to help you maintain. Because there's a lot of friends that I know that went to vocational school or a technical school and they're making 6 figures and making more money than me. And I'm like, dang, why I didn't do that? But everybody's path and mission is different. Going to the army or joining the military, listen, whatever you decide to do, make sure that you have a plan and make sure that you stick to it and that you're open, but make sure that you are as versatile as possible. Therefore, if one door closes, you have a backup plan and another door to open for you to walk through that threshold and to do well. So that's something also to think about. But to know my story, where I come from, to know that the sleepless nights, the tiredness, there were some days I really, really struggled. And to know that from the age of 6, I knew I wanted to go to college. I knew I wanted to go to college. I didn't know how I was going to get there. But every step of the way, I just had the faith that I was going to get there. I've been through a lot, as you have gone through a lot. Your story and your experience may not be the same as mine, but just know that it is obtainable and you could do it, because I tell you this. There was a period in time where my parents split. And when they split, it was hard for my father, it was hard for my mother, and it was hard for me. But I concealed it, and I knew I took that pain and I transmuted it through my schoolwork. Because I said, at the end of the day, even though our family has been diminished, my parents still love me, and I have to make them proud. Even though they're no longer together, they still love me. And it's not my fault, it's just one is water and one is fire. And trying to put out a forest fire and a tsunami, it kind of does not work. So basically, they decided to go their separate ways. But there was one day I would never forget, that I got my report card and I came home from school, and I was in elementary school, and I put out my homework and all the paperwork that my mom needed to sign, and I went into the cupboard and into the cabinets and into the fridge looking for a snack, because that's what I did. I would come home, get a snack, do my homework, and if I could play outside, play outside. And we had nothing to eat. Nothing to eat. And I'm like, I gotta go to college. I gotta go to college, because if I go to college, I know for a fact that I'm not gonna be poor no more. I know for a fact, like, I'm gonna have food to eat. I know for a fact that money not gonna be a problem. Sorry. Let me get it together. I know for a fact I gotta make my mom proud. I know for a fact I gotta make my dad proud. I know for a fact I gotta make God proud. I know for a fact I gotta make my family proud. I got to get it. Like, that's all I can say. I gotta get it. I gotta get it. I gotta get it. I gotta get this degree. I gotta do something that my parents never did. Things in my family, like I'm a first generation to go to college, to graduate, to get a career, to go into this education thing. Like, I got to get it. And that night, my mom came home, did all my homework, and I could see the hurt. And she made some cornmeal porridge without no milk and no sugar. And we ate it. And that was one of the best meals that I had, because I was so hungry. Not only physically, but mentally and academically for success. Because I said, if I go to college, and I made my mom proud, and I complain and I work hard, I never got to go do this. Like, I ain't never got to go do this. This not gonna be me. And thank you, God. I appreciate all the struggles that I've been through. There's some things that I've seen that I should have never seen, but I could stand here today and say, I'm debt free. I worked hard, tirelessly, and smartly, and I got my degree. And you have to know that whatever you put your mind to and you put God first, He gonna help you, because He helped me tremendously. I had no idea I had so much scholarships. I had no idea that my bills were going to be paid. I had no idea that I was going to make it. But all I knew is that I had to fight. That's all I knew. Sorry for the background noise, but I just wanted to let you all know, get this bag. Get these scholarships, get these grants. If you want to go back to school and you have a job and you want to get your master's or your doctoral degree, do the tuition reimbursement program. See if your job will pay you to go back to school, and you're able to move up that way. There's so many different means and ways for you to start a side business, to start a hustle, to be resourceful, to move up in education, to get a degree that you want, but you have to put in the work. You have to lock in. You have to make the decision. You have to fight. And that's what I did. Tirelessly, tooth and nail. If I had to even kick somebody in where the sun don't shine and fight dirty and bust bottles over their head metaphorically to get where I needed to get to, because I felt they were holding me down, I was doing it all in the name of Jesus, no lie. But I had to fight. I had to make my people proud. I had to represent. I had to make something for myself. And, you could do it too. So, I'm just going to leave it at that note. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions, please comment down below. I'm willing to help anyone with the information that I can give. The information that I do know, people I can refer you to, but you're not alone. You're in this space and place for a reason and for a season, and I just pray for all of you that are watching this to be happy, successful, and blessed in more ways, more than one. But no, you can't go to college for free. You just gotta really put in the work for it. So until next time, peace.